Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah Peternell. I'm the owner of Family Nutrition Services in Denver, Colorado, and I'm also the creator of the online program Nourished and Renewed with Hashimoto's. Welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about the all too common symptom of joint and muscle pains that are associated with Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. So if this is a symptom that seems to affect you, there are a couple things I want to touch upon in today's video. The first thing is that in my clinical experience, I've found that the majority of my clients who have experienced joint pain or muscle-related aches and pains and or muscle-related fatigue, it generally means that your Hashimoto's is not being very well controlled. And you may need to follow up with your doctor. Okay, so working closely with your doctor to get your lab tests drawn, to understand what your lab tests mean, and to make sure that you're getting the right medical treatment is the first step in the process. So in addition to being here to talk to you about the holistic and nutritional measures that we can take, I'm also here as your thyroid advocate and hopefully as a bridge to getting you to work better and communicate better with your doctor. If you're suffering with joint pain, if you're suffering with muscle aches and pains, this is not acceptable. And you need to follow up with your doctor and you need to make sure that we're not overlooking anything. The second thing is that we know that autoimmune diseases tend to run in groups. And many people who have Hashimoto's have another secondary autoimmune condition. If your joint pain is severe or it's been going on for a long period of time, I recommend asking your doctor to run a full panel of tests that will help to rule out, for example, rheumatoid arthritis. Now, we know that there are a lot of inflammatory underlying causes that have to do with really the onset and the development of an autoimmune condition like Hashimoto's. So it makes sense then that this same type of inflammatory process would be systemic throughout the body and affecting things like joints and muscle tissue. We also know that the thyroid hormone travels through the body and is taken into the cell at a thyroid receptor site by every single cell in the body. So if your thyroid production by your thyroid gland is low, your body may not be making enough thyroid hormone in order to serve all of the cells in your body. Your thyroid receptors within your cells throughout your entire body may be experiencing what we sort of call the systemic hypothyroidism, meaning that the cells themselves are not responding to the amount of thyroid hormone. What do we do about this? Well, the first thing is that we do want to address joint pain and muscle pain that are related to Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism with anti-inflammatory foods. We want to treat this in a way that we would for any other kind of inflammatory response in the body. So inflammatory, whether it's inflammatory in the gut, inflammatory in the skin, inflammatory in the joints and in the muscles, they're all really sort of part of the same process. The immune system is wonky, it's kind of going awry, right? And so we need to calm down the fires that are going on in the body. And one of the first things that we can do from a dietary standpoint is to cut out junk foods, fast foods, inflammatory foods such as sugar, alcohol, too much caffeine, processed foods, packaged foods, and foods that have a lot of ingredients on the label that we cannot pronounce. We also want to try to stay away from the pro-inflammatory omega-6 oils that are found in a lot of the standard American manufactured foods that give them their shelf-stable capabilities. So we're looking for things like canola oil, seed oils, sunflower oils. These are abundant in the American diet. And research shows that consuming too many foods that contain these pro-inflammatory omega-6 oils, a little bit's okay, but too many of them can lead to more inflammation, in the body, obviously, throughout the body, but also specifically in the arteries and in the cardiovascular system, which can lead to other long-term problems. So from a dietary standpoint, one of the things that I researched in depth when I was in school 20 years ago, getting my nutrition education, was I focused heavily on the benefits of an anti-inflammatory diet for helping a person to heal from autoimmune disease, and specifically from autoimmune thyroiditis, Hashimoto's. So the tenets of an autoimmune protocol, again, are to avoid the pro-inflammatory foods that I just discussed and to really focus on the anti-inflammatory foods that would be similar to something like a Mediterranean style diet. Now, research, again, is very plentiful on a Mediterranean style diet. Research shows us that the anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids that are found in nuts and seeds and avocados and olives and olive oil and cold water fatty fish may help to counterbalance the inflammatory foods like I was discussing, and also may help to quell inflammation in the body. So an anti-inflammatory diet or a Mediterranean diet is really based around healthy fats, and it's based around these anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids. So including more of those types of foods, nuts, seeds, fish, olives, olive oil, etc., is a really good start to help improve your joint pain, but as well as to just lower inflammation throughout your body. Now, the second thing that we can do, which is going to seem almost too easy and almost like duh, is to drink more water. So in my practice, I do bioimpedance analysis testing, and I've discovered that the majority of people, probably 90% or more, are dehydrated. Now, I live in Colorado and I work in Colorado, so we are at high altitude and we live in a dry, arid climate. Makes sense that most of the people coming into my office would be dehydrated. But this is true for the majority of Americans. Most people do not consume as much water as they should. We all think we're doing a good job of consuming water, but if you factor in some of the things that may be dehydrating, then we need to increase our water intake even further. For example, if you consume caffeinated beverages, like coffee in the morning, that is dehydrating. If you consume an alcoholic beverage, that is also very dehydrating. Foods that contain sugar or excess sodium, processed foods, those also can be dehydrating. Also, although it is very good for you, exercise can be dehydrating. Time spent in the sun can also be dehydrating. So I would like for you to think about setting a goal for yourself of drinking 1/2 your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you should drink 75 ounces of water per day. And I would like you to focus on getting pure, fresh, preferably spring water, or a filtered water, so that you're eliminating some of the chemical pollutants that are found in tap water. So being hydrated. The next thing that we can do from a dietary standpoint, if you are suffering from joint pain or muscle pain related to Hashimoto's, is to cut out grains and all sugar for a period of time. So grains and sugar both are pro-inflammatory, and for many people, because of the certain characteristics or properties within grains, may antagonize the inflammatory process even further. So especially if your joint pain is related to your smaller joints, like in your fingers or in your toes, this is a good indication that maybe you would do better without some of the lectin-containing foods that can aggravate joint pain. Doesn't mean that you'll never eat grains again, but giving yourself a break, probably about a month, would be a good amount of time just to avoid grains altogether. There are a lot of nut flour and tapioca flour and potato flour alternatives to substitute occasionally for when you would like something that has kind of a grain or bread or more of a carbohydrate type of a product, such as some of the gluten-free foods that are made from these non-grain flours. You can check those out. Your local health food store is probably a pretty good resource for those types of products. So the benefits of cutting out grains can be really supportive, again, because it is anti-inflammatory and it supports kind of along the lines of an autoimmune protocol without it being too strict. Just cutting out grains and sugar altogether can give you some of that relief. All right, so I've talked about some of the dietary strategies that you can do. Now I want to talk about some other lifestyle measures. It is important to eat a healthy diet if you have Hashimoto's and you're experiencing joint pain. We know this for some of the reasons that I just mentioned about controlling inflammation, but also eating a healthy diet can help you maintain a healthy weight. And so for people who are overweight or over fat, need to be mindful that this excess body weight can have a very detrimental effect on the joints. So eating healthy to maintain a healthy weight, and also maintaining good sleep hygiene practices and going to bed and getting plenty of sleep can both help to support the hormones that support healthy weight, but also getting adequate sleep can help your body in restoring both some of the anti-inflammatory natural processes in the body, re-correcting some of the inflammatory hormones and weight hormones that need to be adjusted. For people who get less than 7 hours of sleep per night, research tells us that they are more likely to be overweight, they are more likely to have an abundance of stress hormones, and they may have more of these inflammatory conditions that I've been talking about. Okay, so finally, I do recommend if you have joint and or muscle related pain for Hashimoto's, I do recommend that you exercise. It can be difficult if you're in pain, I understand. It can be difficult to think about getting up and moving. It can be very hard to motivate. Walking is the greatest exercise and the greatest place to start. So just starting out with a 15 to 20 minute walk every day and building up from there, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. After you get used to having some movement in your life, then you will maybe find that it's easier to do some additional types of exercises, such as some light weight training exercises, using just like a 2-pound hand weight, or even doing some body weight and resistance exercises like yoga or Pilates. These are important exercises because one of the things that helps with joint and muscle related aches and pains with Hashimoto's is strengthening your muscles. So yoga is great because it helps to facilitate both flexibility and developing more muscle tone. These are my top tips for helping you to support your body if you have Hashimoto's and you're experiencing joint and or muscle related pain. I want you to visit your doctor, follow an anti-inflammatory diet, drink more water, and exercise and practicing some more of the lifestyle measures like sleep and stress management to help you combat some of these things. Please remember that Hashimoto's really is a total body condition. Please remember that there is a middle path between working with your physician and applying some of these holistic and natural practices to your daily regimen. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and if you have found that these videos are helpful and you would like more in-depth, scientific, very hands-on information, you are probably a good candidate for checking out my Nourished and Renewed with Hashimoto's 30-day program. The information is in the pinned comment down below. This is a very special program. It's 30 days and it includes everything that you need to start on your own Hashimoto's journey towards living better, healing naturally, eating a Hashimoto's supportive diet, and having a better relationship with your doctor and with yourself as you manage this illness. Thanks so much for watching today, for subscribing, for liking, and for sharing these videos with anyone that you know who might benefit. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.